Hello, everybody. This is Tips Take on UT Basketball. We're going to do a quick season preview for Tennessee men's basketball, do a few player profiles, tell you who to look out for, and talk about some newcomers that's new on the hill over there, and give you a brief little description of their play style and what contributions I feel like they can make to this team. Um, so we'll start with some of the older guys. Um, John Fulkerson and Yves Pons are obviously leaders of this team, both seniors. Um, Yves Pons, the reigning SEC Defensive Player of the Year, had an option to go to enter the draft, and probably would have been a late first round, early second round pick if he would have decided to go. But he decided to come back, and I feel like that was the right move for him. He has a chance to up his stock a little bit. It's hard as a senior to get drafted, but I feel like if he can improve his offensive game, um, his defensive presence is obviously on the NBA level. So he can't do anything but help himself right now by coming back. So I feel like that's a good move. I expect big things from him. He'll be a leader on both ends, and hopefully he's more aggressive and working on creating his own shot. He did well shooting from the corner three and spot up threes off catch and shoot situations last year. I feel like if he can really, really show that he can create his own shot, besides the little mid range in the paint, he's done that pretty consistently. But like creating his own shot from the 3 point line and getting to the mid range and pulling up for a jumper or getting all the way to the rim from the 3 point line, that can really benefit him and get him pretty high draft value. Uh, John Fulkerson, I mean, he's do it all. Um, Potential All American this year, which is just crazy to think about from where he started out. Well, he's playing behind a lot of big time players though, but he's a potential All American this year, potential SEC Player of the Year. I feel like he should be able to give us close to 20 points per game, 18, 20 points per game, just depending on how much how many shots he actually decides to put up, because we do have some talented offensive players that are newcomers. So, but John Fulkerson is easily 20 points any night that he's out there, just off. I mean, hustle baskets, and if he can improve his defensive rebounding and defensive presence, um, and be that force in the paint, at, then I mean he can really carry us a long way. Next on the list, we'll talk about Josiah James. Josiah James had an up and down freshman year. He was injured, didn't really have a great off season prior to his freshman year because of being injured. I feel like the sky is the limit for him, and he has his best years of basketball ahead of him. Um, he has an NBA body already. I mean, he looks like an NBA player just looking at him get off the bus. But uh, if he can be more aggressive and show that he can, again, create his own shot, off the dribble, create plays for others. He did a pretty good job of that last year. But if he can really just improve on where he was last year, and on the offensive and defensive end and rebounding, I feel like he's right where he needs to be. Uh, he's a big guard, and he can play 1 through 4, and he's really versatile. I think that if he can give us, 12, 14 points per game, I feel like balanced stat line, 6 to 8 rebounds, 5 to 7 assists. Like that's what I anticipate out of him this year. Um, from what I heard, he's improved on the offensive end, been able to get a quality off season, and be able to put in good work, uh, injury free. I mean, of course, COVID is a factor, but other than that, he's been able to be in the gym. I've heard that he was able to improve his game. Next on the list, we'll talk about Santiago Vescovi. I think Santiago Vescovi is the wild card for this team. I mean, he's probably one of the most exciting players that Tennessee's had. Um, he's really flashy. The crowd loves him. Fan favorite. He can really shoot it. He kind of reminds me of a shorter, less athletic Manu Ginobili. And he really just crafty, and you can just tell that he's played a lot of basketball against professionals. His entire life since he's a young kid. Um, and I've heard that he's gotten in better shape this year, so that will help him go a long way. He should be able to really benefit from the off-season workout program. I mean, he came in last minute and started the first game. I think he was only on campus for like a week, maybe. So that just shows you his talent level and his knowledge of the game is really high to be able to pick up um, that system and be able to play and be as effective as he was. I think he scored like 19 points his first game, um, and and from what I understand, playing point guard for Rick Barnes is not a easy task. So for him to be able to be on campus for like a week and be able to start at point guard, I feel like that just shows you where he can be with with proper time and proper off season training and conditioning. So I really expect big things out of him. He's really a wild card for us. I mean, again, his production as far as points and minutes go, it's really dependent on these newcomers because some of these newcomers are NBA talents. So I mean, he's gonna have to get in where he fits in. But I feel like somebody like him who can really shoot the ball, really create for others. Um, Again, he plays like an NBA veteran out there for the most part. I mean, yeah, he has some bad turnovers, but he plays like an NBA veteran. The way he how crafty he is and how he can get to his spots on the court and make plays for himself and others. Next on this, we will talk about Devontae Gaines. I like Devontae Gaines. He's really long and athletic, and he plays extremely hard. I think that he's very capable offensively to to be productive. Put the ball. He can put the ball in the basket. His shot was up and down, but that's what you expect from a freshman. Um, he really, I feel like he knew that his contribution to this team last year was on the defensive end and making hustle plays, and it wasn't really his place to score last year. But I feel like if he's called upon more to score this year, then he's able to do that. He's 6'7", real wiry, um, but again, he's athletic, plays extremely hard, and I feel like and he can definitely be a big help to the team. Next, we're talking about the Knoxville native Drew Pember. Long again, 6'9". We got a really long team this year, really athletic. They got him marked at 6'10", but he can shoot the ball from the outside. Really smart, and in my opinion, I would like to see those two red shirt, but I guess they only have to wear a shirt since the COVID year is giving everybody a free year eligibility. Um, both of those last two, Devontae Gaines and Drew Pember, really need to put some weight on. Once they do that, I mean, it's gonna be tough. 6'7", 6'10", can play inside out, handle the ball. Those type of guys make a big difference for a program. And these are 4-year college basketball guys, so they get a free year this year, and so potentially 5 years on campus for those two. That could be a huge benefit down the line for this program, I believe. Next, we'll talk about Olivier. I'm gonna just leave it at Olivier because I really don't want to butcher his name, but he had an up and down season. He started out starting a few games, he came off the bench at first and then started a few games, and you can tell the potential is there. I hope he can put it together. And again, another athletic kid, 6'9". Um, he's plays hard, unselfish, just did whatever he was supposed to do, and not really worried about scoring the basketball. In fact, a few times last year, I thought he was a little too unselfish. I hope that he can find his spots on the court and take advantage of opportunities and putbacks and tip dunks and things of that nature. I think he can really be a help to the team. They have a really deep roster this year. Uros Plavsic, 7-footer. I mean, what else can you say? You can't teach 7 feet. Um, I feel like a year in the off-season program here, hopefully it's beneficial for him. Be more athletic, be more confident in himself. You could kind of tell he was when he got out there. It took him forever to get eligible because of NCAA. That's a whole nother story. We won't get into that. But he once he got eligible, I feel like he was pressing a little bit. He wanted to make a contribution and show people, hey, I really can play. I think he came in as a 4-star recruit to Arizona State before he transferred here. Um, and so I think he maybe was pressing a little bit, trying to score. And you really have to do that. You can just kick it back out. Um, but from what I understand, he has some offensive talent around the basket. He can make plays, jump hooks over the left and right shoulder, and hopefully he can be able to hit the mid-range jumper. And I like to see him be a presence on defense, just blocking shots. I think last year he had a lot of bad fouls and being in the wrong position. But again, when you come in at the middle of the season and you probably at one point you didn't think that you were going to play at all, so it's kind of tough. Um, he's in a tough spot. Uh, let's get to some of these newcomers that everybody's so excited about. We'll start with Victor Bailey Jr., the transfer from Oregon. 6'4" guard, really athletic. I watched some of his film. I've never seen him play at Baylor, but I watched some of his film from high school. He's just really athletic, and everything that you hear about him is he's making NBA type plays. Last year in practice, this year in practice, um, he's doing things that really nobody else on our roster can do, or um, just with the basketball, being athletic to get his own shot, get all the way to the rim, get to the mid range, and hit the three ball. So he'd be able to score on all three levels, and that's pretty big time, man. If he can do that consistently, then watch out. I mean, that's gonna be he can definitely put the ball in the basket for us. And again, we're talking about somebody who should be able to average like 16 points per game, depending on his playing time and opportunities. We'll talk about Jaden Springer, 5-star recruit, big time player out of Charlotte. We were really surprised to get him. I thought he'd probably go to North Carolina. Um, that was a big get. I mean, him playing in the Bobby Mays program really helped UT in my mind. Uh, really helped UT land him. A strong guard, can play one or the two. Um, Again, another kid that's built like an NBA player. If you look at him, he's built like an NBA player. Strong guard, 204 pounds, 6'4". He prides himself on the defensive end. He can handle the ball. He can shoot it. He can get to the basket. So again, another 3-level scorer. Um, a potential future first-round draft pick. I mean, we haven't had too many of those guys come through here that are actually first-round draft picks. And then for it to be a guy who can play point guard or shooting guard, that's really helps the team. Gives you some versatility there. Um, I mean, I think the sky's the limit for him if he stays a couple of years. And then really, we're talking, this team this year has a chance to make a Final Four run. I really don't expect anything less. But if a couple of these guys stay around next year, I mean, these next few years should be really exciting. We'll talk about Keon Johnson next. Keon Johnson is going to be the surprise player from what everybody's saying. And I like to compare him to Dwayne Wade. Just kind of like he can play the one or the two, really athletic. Kind of came in under the radar like Dwayne Wade. If he improves his shooting, it's basically the same story. Dwayne Wade needs to improve his shooting to be able to get to where he was. And I feel like Keon Johnson does that. I mean, the sky's the limit. He prides himself on defense. He can guard 1 through 3, and he's gonna be able to lock people down. And he really changes the game for us to go as that physical guard. And they're talking about a potential one and done player here. And again, one and done players that can play one or the two. We haven't had many of those coming through here. Tobias Harris, but he's a power forward, a small forward type player. So really excited about this team. They have some strong players, and people this year have said to me, Rick Barnes talented teams at Texas. They're comparing this to talented teams at Texas. And what I like to say is this team is different. We have the talent on this team plays defense. Those guys, LaMarcus Aldridge, Daniel Gibson, PJ Tucker. I mean, outside of PJ Tucker, the rest of those guys were, offensive players. These guys that Rick Barnes has here are defensive players, defensive minded players, real strong, and along with being able to put the ball in the basket. Uh, so I feel like that's the difference between this team and some of his Texas teams. But anyway, we'll go back to the player profiles. Corey Walker Jr., athletic 3-man, 4-star recruit. Um, Again, he's another future NBA talent if he gets in here and works hard and stays consistent and show that he can put the ball on the floor and get to the basket and get to the mid range. 6'8", small forward. I think that he'll definitely be in the rotation and get some top opportunities before, if we can get enough games in for SEC play to get him comfortable. But if he doesn't get a lot of opportunities for SEC play, it's gonna be hard to crack that rotation with what we have. But again, it's a free year, so I mean, you're not really losing anything if he doesn't play. EJ Anasiki is the last player we're going to talk about. He is a transfer from Sacred Heart University, a really strong rebounder, undersized post player, 6'7", kind of like a Grant Williams type, but not that type of offensive player necessarily, but he's going to give you that same type of toughness in the paint, rebounding, experience, the type of player that you really want in your program. Nikki Anasiki's brother, she's a legend here, so. I think that was a good pickup to get him and bring some strength, because what we lack is rebounding and toughness in the paint. John Fulkerson can't do it all by himself. He needs some help down there. So I feel like EJ Anasiki should be able to provide that help that he needs. And overall, that's the team this year for the most part. And I feel like again, Final Four. We need to be in the Final Four, and I hope that the COVID situation doesn't stop this season from going on. Or last year we weren't able to finish, so hopefully this year we'll be able to get through the whole season. I feel like we should be able to win the SEC regular season, SEC tournament, no doubt. Like, there's no reason why we shouldn't be a top 5 team by the time the tournament rolls around and be competing for that number one seed come tournament time. Tomorrow we play Colorado. We'll see how they put it together. I feel like Rick Barnes is going to play a lot of players. It's early in the season. He usually plays a pretty deep rotation early on, and all these guys are talented. So he really has no reason to hold back. We're glad to finally be getting the season kicked off. One of the most exciting basketball teams that we've had, and with just like the NBA talent and big time recruits. It's been a long time since we had this type of recruiting class on campus. So we'll see if they can put it together. And that's Tips Tape. I'll do a recap after the game tomorrow and give you my analysis of the game and see what I thought. Thank you.